you, Deputy Secretary. An honor to have you here at the Reagan Library. Thanks for coming back.
Great to be here.
Just watched your remarks with the New York Times. You had some fascinating things to say, but it made me want to put some context to it. You're in an incredibly important position now at the Department of Defense. Where did you find yourself in the Reagan years, the peace through strength years?
I was commissioned in 1974 as a Marine Second Lieutenant. My first deployment was to Okinawa in 1975. And this was just as we changed from the all-volunteer force, from the draft force to the all-volunteer force. And I have to tell you, the first 5 years I was in the Marine Corps, I wasn't certain I was going to make it a career. We had a lot of problems. The change when President Reagan came in, I was at that time a Marine captain, but the change was palpable. First of all, everyone just had the overriding impression that he understood that we needed to have a strong military. He was committed to giving us what we needed. And in a very short period of time, primarily through the pay raises that he authorized, or that he championed, as well as some other tools that he gave us, we were able to change that force around in an unbelievably quick period of time. And so by 1990, those years from 1981 to 1988, the all-volunteer force underwent such an unbelievable transformation. And I will forever, it will always in my mind, be associated with President Reagan's tenure as the Commander-in-Chief.
Yeah, I was on Capitol Hill at the time, and I used to watch it from the Budget Committee's perspective. We were playing with big numbers and money to buy tanks and things like that, but I always wondered down there at the front line with the frontline soldier if they felt President Reagan's presence, and your answer is they obviously did.
They did. I mean, every time he interacted with us, it didn't matter whether it was a troop talk or whatever, he always had a kind word for the young Marines and sailors and soldiers and airmen. He obviously cared a lot about all of us. We knew that if he sent us into battle, or that he had thought carefully about it, and we also knew that he was going to give us everything we needed. It was just an unbelievable transformation in a short period of time, and it just goes to show how important the Commander-in-Chief is on how the military operates.
Spin forward now, many years later, the threats, Reagan's time, to conventional war, fighting capability, that sort of thing, and I know it's evolved, it's much more complex today. So what we see happening with Russia's annexation of Crimea and the situation in the South China Sea, and now we find Russia more than knocking on the door in Syria. What's next? I mean, the threat does seem to be continually creeping towards us.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, Secretary of Defense Carter, as you know, he was had my job just 2 short years ago in 2013. And at that time, he used to worry about a potential contingency with China, a potential contingency with North Korea, and a potential contingency with Iran. Now, just 2 years later, we add a potential contingency with Russia, as well as this ongoing fight in the Middle East against primarily ISIL. So the Secretary says, I used to worry about 3 things, now I worry about 4 contingencies plus 1 condition. So in that regard, without question, what the military is being asked to do, the demands on that organization have been going up. Now, as you know, since 2012, the resources that have been associated with national defense have been coming down. And last year, we all basically said, look, we have to address this. You see the demands, all you have to do is read the headlines, and we need consistency. We can't go from year to year not knowing what our budget is. So that's why the Secretary and I are so happy that we have a budget deal that gives us some consistency for 2 years, but we hope that the longer-term debate over what is the right level of resources for our national defense will take place, because our military is capable of meeting any threat. But sometimes you just got to make sure that your resources and your demands are matched. And right now, I think they're a little out of bounds. But this most recent budget deal is very, very welcome.
Yeah, it seems to me that I've talked with some others from the Department of Defense today, and almost seems to the point where the feeling is, look, just give me a number, be consistent, let me plan at least a couple of years, and they would welcome that, and it sounds like that's the case right now.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Mr. Secretary, it's just an honor to have you, and we really appreciate your time here today.
I appreciate being here. As I said, this is one of the few truly bipartisan or nonpartisan events where people from both sides of the aisle, even though they don't agree on everything, can come together. And it's just such a wonderful venue, a beautiful place. I can't imagine, anything looking better. And so it's really been an honor to be here, and thank you for taking some time with me.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Okay, take care.
Take care.